wanted to sit down and make a video where I talk about a principle, a strategy, if you will, that is just so crucial for dividend investors. When you invest into dividend paying stocks, you get paid money in the form of dividends for holding that stock and investing into that company. When you get paid dividends, you can decide what you do with them. You can either have that money as cash and then go and spend it as you see fit, or you can actually choose to reinvest those dividends. If you decide to reinvest your dividends, this means that you're using that money to purchase additional shares in that company. And in doing so, you're increasing your position. Most platforms actually allow you to opt in to their automatic reinvestment plan, and these are called DRIPs, D-R-I-P-S. By opting into these plans, you won't need to do anything as an investor. It's all automatic and done for you. Alternatively to this, you can reinvest your dividends, but you can do it outside of an automatic reinvestment plan, and you can actually manually do it yourself. This method isn't as easy, nor is it as automatic, and it does rely on you as an investor to actually remember to do it and manually go in and reinvest those dividends. But this does mean that you have more control about where your dividends are actually going, where you want them to be reinvested. You might not want them to actually go back into the company that paid you, and you might instead want to use those dividends to buy additional shares in a completely different stock that you have. And also, by manually reinvesting your dividends, although it's not as automatic and easy, which is great for a lot of people, it does mean that you do have the ability, if you want as an investor, and it's quite often not really advised, but you do have the ability to actually decide when you're going to enter the market. Let me explain. So if you are getting paid a dividend from a company and you decide that you're going to manually reinvest that dividend, you could just hold on to it in the form of cash in your investment account and wait until an opportunity arises whereby perhaps a stock that you want to pick up is reduced in price, and then you go and sort of time the market a little bit and buy in at a better price than perhaps you would have if you were just to have it reinvested for you. There are a few things to think about though if you are going to manually do it, or if you're not, I suppose. Is the platform that you're using going to charge you any additional fees for you manually investing these dividends yourself? I know that a lot of platforms actually offer like commission free or a discount fee if you opt into their reinvestment plans. And another thing that you might want to think about, especially if you're at your the start of your dividend investing journey, where your dividends probably aren't very big, is will the platform that you invest with actually allow you to buy fractional shares? My dividend investment portfolio, my ISA, is on Interactive Brokers, and I believe that you do get charged a commission on that platform. And also, if you don't have enough dividends to purchase an entire share, then what happens is it doesn't allow you to do fractional share buying as part of the dividend reinvestment plan on there. So the money will go into your account as cash, and it will wait until, I guess, it has enough to purchase a share. But this just means for me, where I am in my journey, I don't have enough dividends coming through yet where I can guarantee being able to buy whole shares. And also, if I'm going to be charged a commission anyway, I kind of just think that I might as well manually do it and have more control that way. So at the moment, I've not opted into the reinvestment plan, and instead I've just allowed my dividends to accumulate in cash on my account. And then once that grows to a substantial amount where I can purchase some shares or a share, then I'm just going to manually do that. But for those of you watching that have been dividend investing or investing for a lot longer than I have, and you have any opinions about this, do let me know, because if there is a better way I can be doing this, then I want to know about it. Dividend reinvesting is really, really key, especially for investors that are in that accumulation stage of their investing journey. The reason it's so important is because it allows you to buy more shares of a company, which then means that your dividend payout will be larger because you have more shares. And in turn, you then use that money to buy even more shares, which then means that the dividend payout is larger, and then you use that money to buy more shares, and it just keeps going, and the effect is really, really compounding over time. I guess the point is that if you decide to reinvest your dividends, then you can almost supercharge your total returns over the long run. Kind of like, this could be completely wrong, but is it Mario, the game Mario, where you Mario Karts, whatever, where you're racing, and then there's them like arrows on the floor, and if you go over them, it super speeds you. That could be completely random and made up. But anyway, it's a bit like that. The point is that if you reinvest your dividends, you get even more effect of compounding. I found this interesting article on Hargreaves Lansdown, which I thought I'd share about this. So what they've done is they've looked at the value of shares, Rice & Co share. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but anyway, Rice & Co share with reinvesting the dividends and without reinvesting the dividends. So you can see here that the amount of years, going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 40, jumps a bit there at the end. The income from dividends and the value of shares without reinvesting and with reinvesting. You can see that as the journey starts in the first few years, especially, up to 5, there's not a lot of difference. So the value of shares without reinvesting, you can see here, with reinvesting here, there's not a huge amount of difference. But as time goes on, you'll see that there starts to become, a significant difference really between 100 and 740. These amounts may not seem like a lot, but if you decide to reinvest your dividends, there is another factor working for you here, and that is time. And also on top of time, you will just get the natural stock appreciation, whereby the stock price, hopefully over time, is going up. I guess it all just comes down to this exponential growth that can happen. Here is a dividend calculator that I thought we could run and just see the difference with and without reinvesting. So we've got here the option of DRIP. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a reinvestment plan. But let's just change a few things here. So we'll do quarterly. For now, we're going to say no, so we're not going to reinvest them. Let's put $1,000 annual amount going in. Again, 1,000. We're going to remove the dividend tax. We'll leave that as 5, 3. We'll put the share price appreciation to 7, and let's change this to 35. Just plucking numbers out of thin air really, just to see the difference. So let's calculate dividends. Remove the ad. Okay, so after 35 years, the portfolio will have 148,000, nearly 149,000, and you can see some other figures here. I'm guessing this is 100, yeah. So what would happen, remember that number, 149-ish thousand. What would happen if we actually did reinvest them? Get rid of the ad again, see you later. Okay, 264,000. So that's exactly the same time period. All the parameters are exactly the same as you saw. The only difference is reinvesting those dividends. So difference between 148,000 something, whatever, 149,000 and 200 and nearly 65,000. That is a big difference just for reinvesting those dividends. And unless you actually need the income, then it makes sense to me, if you've got any other thoughts on this, do leave them in the comments below, but it makes sense to me just to reinvest them, have them work for you over time. Of course, there will be a period in your investing journey when you when you start getting ready to retire and you come to retire, where you won't be reinvesting those dividends and you'll actually be using them as income to live on. That makes complete sense, but especially for the accumulation phase that I'm currently in, I think reinvesting the dividends definitely makes sense. And I just have one more thing to show you before I leave you alone and you can stop listening to me rambling on about dividends. But that is this graph here, and it's really interesting because it shows you a few things. So just quickly, the red line is showing you portfolio growth for when the dividends are just kept as an income and they're not being reinvested at all. The orange line in the middle there is if the investor is reinvesting their dividends. And then the blue line, which is the most attractive of the three, in my humble opinion, is actually when the investor reinvests their dividends, but also are investing into companies, into stocks that are increasing their dividends. So they're growing their dividends year on year or whatever time frame. Such as the dividend kings, the dividend aristocrats, the ones that are, regularly increasing their dividends year on year, which is something that a lot of dividend investors absolutely love when they're choosing a company to invest into. The point is that when a stock grows their dividends, in addition to growing their earnings, the reinvestment effect, the drip effect, if you will, is multiplying again. So you're getting even more compounding power. So the investor not only sees compounding in the share price, which you can see on the graph, in the actual dividend payment that they're getting, but also from the accumulation of additional shares as well. I'll leave it there, but that's just my thoughts and opinions on dividend reinvesting. If you've got any of your own, leave them in the comments below. But if not, I'll see you very shortly in my next video.